Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, and welcome to Energy Speaks Back, powered by Hark. My name is Paul Webb. I'm the founder of B2B Energy, and I'm your host. Wherever you are listening to this podcast today, I truly hope you are safe. We would like to thank our episode sponsor today, Led by Vision. This is episode 45. Where weekly I present to you energy experts from around the world, and today I'm back in the UK. The purpose, as always, is to provide a good understanding of energy management knowledge from around the world, which is available today for us to deliver savings that impact on our planet. My guest today is a branding expert. Her personal attributes are to recognize brands, elevate people, and embrace values and core beliefs. So without any further ado, I give you Aarti Parmar. Good afternoon, Aarti, and how are you today?
Good afternoon, Paul. I'm really, really good. Thank you very much.
Good. And I always say this, that, you know, when we're in audio and people are listening, I wish they could actually see you today because you're glowing as always, and you've got this reddish coloured dress on. So you look absolutely amazing. So thank you for coming today.
Very kind of you. Thank you very much.
For people that listen to my interview as such, they always know that I start with the weather, being typical English.
Mm-hmm.
So what's the weather doing like where you are at the moment?
Right now, the sun's actually come out. Ask me 15 minutes ago, it was raining. Ask me in 15 minutes time, it's probably going to start raining again.
Exactly. I think though we're in July, it feels like April, doesn't it? April showers. It's absolutely ridiculous. And today I've actually got a jumper on because I refuse to put my heating on in the house because it is so cold. It's unbelievable. Another sign of climate change.
Absolutely.
So Aarti, I think we met probably about 18 months ago, probably in a networking meeting.
That's right.
In London. And we've remained good friends, and we've been sharing details and knowledge around both our businesses. And we network via LinkedIn as such. So I know a lot about your background and who Aarti is. So, but for the benefits of our listeners today, could you give us some background of who you are and what you do?
Sure, absolutely. So yes, I'm Aarti Parmar, and I'm a brand strategist, coach, and a brand designer. So very much for me, it's helping businesses to really define who they are as a brand, so then they can mindfully put themselves out there with intent, joy, and impact. So for me, I really want to help more and more businesses to educate and empower them so they take ownership and have alignment with their brand and really, work from the inside out.
And where did all that start, Aarti? Where did you get all that passion from?
Oh, wow. Oh, gosh, how long do we have? I'll try and give you the short version then.
I know your dad's related into this, isn't he? He's involved in your journey.
Yeah, well, he had a business. He had a TV audio retail shop, actually. And actually, when I think about it, it's a really good question because we were from the sort of probably age of 3, 4. We used to go into his shop, so I was probably always, surrounded by business, entrepreneurship, and I probably didn't even realize it at that time because we'd go into the shop in school holidays and stuff like that. And he'd put us on one side and put the TV on, and at that time that used to be like Blockbusters, so he used to go and pick out a video, and he'd be doing his sort of thing in the other part of the shop. And that's probably where it started from. He ran his business for over 40 years. So, I did my studying and all of that kind of thing. And my background actually was in graphic design. And I always had this ambition to work and travel abroad. So I ended up and this was at the age of 22, I ended up in Far East Asia. So I was in Singapore first, and from Singapore, I then went to Malaysia, worked with an advertising agency over there. And it was there I met some local business partners, and they were like, look, why don't we set up a one-stop shop? You can do graphic design. This person does color separation. This person does printing. So I was at that point like, well, I'm really green in graphic design and I've got zero experience of running a business. Why would I do that kind of thing? So basically, there's loads of there's dime a dozen graphic designers out there. If it doesn't work for you, we'll get somebody else in. And that for me was like, oh, I've actually got nothing to lose. So that's where my sort of business journey began. And I must say, there's a massive difference between being given an opportunity and actually sort of thinking, right, I'm going to start my own business, and just kind of being thrown into the deep end. So, you just quickly have to learn things. And from being a graphic designer, we quickly grew a team. So, I now wasn't just a graphic designer. Now I'm like out networking. I'm, doing business development. Like I said, we grew the team quite quickly. And actually, it was in Malaysia where I had my first taste of networking, and that's where I did sort of learn about BNI, actually.
Right. So one of the things that I've picked up on our sort of conversations is graphic designing. So it's not, you design a logo for an organization. It's not just about that logo. When you design a logo, it's a lot more behind that. And I'm not going to put words into your mouth, but can you explain where and what the steps they have to take and what the journey is for them regarding their logo, for instance, just a simple thing like that?
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the things I always sort of share, whether I'm delivering talks, workshops, or working with clients one-to-one, is that it is a brand that gives a logo meaning, not a logo that gives a brand meaning. So what do I mean by that? If I was to just show you Google's logo and you knew nothing about them, it's actually meaningless to you. What does it really mean? It's nothing. And there's other global brands that we all know and love. If I showed all of the logos to you and you didn't know nothing about them, it means nothing. So for me, it's about helping my clients to actually create an identity around their brand before they even think about doing a logo, website, and posting on social media. And I come across businesses all the time that will be like, right, I want to get my logo done and I want to get my website done, or they do take these steps. They get excited about a new business idea. Right, let's get that logo, website, and start posting on social media. And what happens after 6 months, year, they start hitting a bit of a brick wall. And it's like, where am I heading with this? What does this all mean? I'm not getting the kind of sales. I'm working with all sorts of different people, and it's just not working for me. And that, for me, it comes down to because they haven't actually looked at who they are as a brand and built a brand foundation, a brand strategy. Logo is the very, very last thing you do once you understand who you are as a brand, what you want to be known for, how you're going to be positioned, and all of these different things. So in terms of, how I work with my clients, I've created a 10-step brand framework that I take them through. So it really does give them the clarity, focus, and direction. We look at the things like their purpose, their vision, their values, their target audience, the positioning, USP, and lots of other different attributes that actually make a brand. So then it can be translated into the branding side of things. So there's brand and there's branding. Branding is the visual representation of what you stand for through words and visuals and stuff like that. So it's important to do it in the right sequential way. First comes brand, and then the brand identity, and then you can start looking at the other things like websites, social media, and then going into the marketing. So then what you're actually doing is marketing your brand rather than just feel like I'm marketing to anybody, everybody, and nothing's working for me.
Yeah. Now, as energy experts, we are, and I always say this, we are very technical. We're there to provide a service, and our background is a technical background, whether it be electrical, mechanical, or electronics, or all of them combined. So that's where I've been fortunate because my career has stemmed across some marketing and some sales. So I've been lucky because I've been working in the corporate world to actually bring that into my day-to-day business as of today. But there's the experts. This is why I've introduced you to this network today, because I want to share that back, because it's important. Us as energy experts, we've got to have a good brand, a good core values, and an understanding of purpose, because we have got a purpose in what we're trying to achieve. If we just looked at the bigger picture at climate change, we're trying to address climate change, reducing the emissions and things. So we have got that really great story to build into our brand. And that's what I'm trying to get over, to make people more sustainable. I'm not necessarily using the right word there, because it does clash with the sustainability of life. But I want businesses to be sustainable. That's what I'm trying to deliver here. Does the climate change and the energy sort of sectors, do they influence some of the stuff that your organizations look at when they're looking at their branding?
It varies on different brands' purpose. So if they are going down that route of, actually we want to position ourselves and be known as, sustainable, ethical, and all of these kind of things, then yes, that is something then they will need to look at, because you can't just sort of say that we're sustainable and we're sourcing, ethically. You've got to do it because nowadays consumers are much more conscious about what brands are doing, where they are sourcing, how they are going about this. If they say they are energy savers, what is it that they are doing to be that? It's not just about sort of saying it nowadays. It's about, consumers actually wanting to have that evidence from a brand. So when I'm working with, business brands and they say that they are this, I will then, sort of question, how are you this? How are you going to get this across in your communications? What is it that you are doing? For example, the other day I was talking to somebody and they was saying about their packaging and they want it, again, sustainably sourced. Okay, so what does that mean? What kind of material does that mean? How are you going to then communicate that into your website, into your communications? So people start believing. I always sort of say in its very sort of simplified form, a brand is a created perception. And it's those perceptions that form beliefs in our mind about who a business, a brand is. And this is why then people connect and, emotionally connect to brands in that sense, because, it makes them feel good. It makes them feel secure, safe, whatever it is, in that sense.
Are we seeing a trend towards people looking at sustainability in their core values and their purpose?
Yeah.
With organisations?
Yes, definitely. There is that. I think also there is a trend in people wanting to know to be more purposeful within their brand as well. So as we know the whole sort of Simon Sinek, start with why. Heard of the concept, but not always. Businesses aren't always implementing it or know how to. So when you have that real absolute understanding of why your brand exists beyond making money, the kind of impact it wants to make, then it starts questioning in the mind of these people, how do we actually then do this? How do we actually create an impactful brand? What do we need to look at? Do we need to look at our energy resource? Do we need to look at where we are purchasing certain ethically sourced food and stuff like that from? So it does get them, questioning that, because these are the kind of things that actually differentiate, brands from other brands who are in similar
competitors.
Yeah.
There's in the olden days of me doing the energy, so my colour of my logo is orange, and there is a reason behind that. Mm-hmm. And I haven't told many people the reasoning behind that side of it, but it's probably a poor web secret as such. But I used to have green. Green used to be my colour, and then I was once told that green was old-fashioned to be, and I think green is the right colour to be, because we are trying to go green. That's always been, but it isn't just about that, is it?
No, it's not. Like I said, there's so many different elements that make a brand a brand. So it's important to understand who your target audience are. That's because at the end of the day, you are serving them. I always say a brand is a vehicle to serve, grow, and impact. So understanding who you are actually serving is one of those key elements. the other thing is, around your purpose, around your values, around that brand personality, because this is what's going to bring out the essence of who you are as a brand and attract the people that are going to resonate with what you stand for and what you have to say. So yeah, colors are definitely important. And I do sometimes have people or clients, and that they'll spend they'll think about it so much, and it's a real kind of, I'm like, actually, your purpose is going to be something that really needs to be thought out and stuff like that. So colors do have meanings, and they do resonate with certain people, and it does give a certain look and feel. But yeah, it's not just about pretty colors and stuff like that.
Is it important to have a brand or say not have a brand? So I know quite a lot of so I've met a consultant recently, and they're putting their details on to our database, and I said, oh, you can put your logo on there. We go, oh, we don't have a logo. Oh, you're not have, and they don't have no branding whatsoever. Where are we there? Is it important to have something or nothing, or what? Is there a right or wrong thing to do?
Yeah, I mean, you'll see nowadays there's more and more people having their brand is like just their name, and even if it's that, if it's a certain look and it's consistently that across, that is almost your logo mark still. So something to visually connect with. It's definitely useful to have that. However, if they're sort of thing, actually, I just want to be a personal brand and it's my face, and they're using their face everywhere, and that's their strategy. So, when we're looking into brand, it is, like I said, purpose, vision, value. So part of that vision is looking at the growth goals and the strategy for the business. So if it's, for example, a person just wants to just absolutely just build their personal brand, and they're plastering their face everywhere, and that's part of their strategy, fine, go ahead with that. But then if there are platforms like yours, and you're sort of saying to everybody, yeah, I want to have your logos, and that's what's going to represent your brand, then yeah, no, it's definitely, it is. I do feel that it's important to have some sort of visual representation of your brand, because you're not always going to be the first touch point that people will have. They might land on your website, they might land on your Instagram page or your LinkedIn page and stuff like that. So there needs to be some sort of coherency, congruency, and consistency. So just to make sure that's all in place.
Because the energy experts are predominantly one-man band type organizations. So they're single individuals, consultants that are providing a service for an organization or organizations. So again, you're right. They do need a touch point, don't they?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Regarding a color or brand, their name or whatever.
Yeah, because the visual side gives it an identity, a visual identity. And we're looking that's where people start connecting, in their mind, okay, orange, blue, and I'm sure this has happened to you when you're scrolling on LinkedIn, before you've even read the text, you've seen an image, and automatically you're like, okay, I don't know, that's Aarti's brand, or that's Paul's brand, or you get it straight away, and that's that visual representation.
I always try to put my brand on everything I do, because so it can be identified back to myself.
Absolutely. And also the other things, people might start sharing your posts.
Exactly.
So then if your branding is on there, it's I love social media for the fact that you can get so much exposure, and in a way for free. If you're doing sales and ads and stuff, obviously that's different. But if you're sharing really great, valuable content, and people start sharing your post, and it's got your branding on it, and someone's like, oh, that sounds really useful, let me go and check them out. It's all about these creating awareness in that sense.
So those people that haven't got a brand, or they haven't got some form of logo, what's their starting point when they're starting out? What do they need to do? Is there any process, just very quick, not trying to give your services away, but is there anything they need to just be mindful of?
Yeah, definitely digging in deeper into, who are you as a brand? Why are you setting up a business? Why are you doing what you are doing? Really coming back to that purpose, vision, values, and all the other attributes that make a brand, because that's going to form the identity. And what that actually does for you as an individual, you have more clarity, you have confidence, you have direction, because so many times, and I'm the reason I'm saying these things is because I've been in a place when I started my business, and I was a bit like, I do this, that, and everything, and all of that, and I didn't really have a real clear strategy. I didn't have a real clear purpose. So what I ended up feeling is a bit demotivated. Where am I heading with this? Am I wasting my time, money, effort? And I'm working with people, I'm getting these jobs in, and I'm not actually really enjoying working with them. It was things that I didn't quite enjoy. And then it's a case of, well, actually what I put out there is what I get back. So if my own communications aren't clear, how am I going to work with my ideal clients? Yeah. So that starts with actually working from the inside out. Who do you really want to serve? Who do you enjoy working with? What kind of impact do you want to make? And that doesn't just happen overnight. But when the moment I got a lot more clearer about how I want to position myself and what I want to be known for, is when I really understood my brand's purpose, and then aligned that with my values, my brand values, and the vision and all of the other things. And that helped me to create my services, my products. And also, how do I show up on social media? I get a lot of people like, I don't know how to promote myself. I don't know what to say. It all starts from really understanding who you are as a brand, because everything else will unfold from that, even your brand identity, the logo side, the colors, and all of that part of it as well.
I find, like, I've done these exercises, and it launch pads you into where you want to start going. And then you just ride off the back of the wave of what the brand and what the process and the core values. So I remember we had a meeting last year, and I actually sat down and thought, what are my core values? And I documented what my core values. I even stuck them up on the side in our office when we was in the offices as such, so everyone else knew. And then each core value had a reason behind the core value of why we were delivering that. And then later on, I seek some sort of comfort in looking at the UN goals. If you look at the UN goals, and you can just pick two of them or some of them to actually help you towards your core values and what you're trying to achieve. Providing electricity to people that need electricity, water that can be drank all over the world. There's just key points that you can bring out that then bring that back. And it seems strange, I'm going to go out and do energy assessments. I'm going to go out and do energy work, but behind me needs to be that core value of what I'm trying to deliver every day in my message.
Absolutely. And I always say this, we've got so many, we're bombarded with so many different marketing messages on a daily basis. And one of the things I always say that makes a brand authentic and meaningful and differentiates it is the brand values as well, because whoever is behind the business, they've had their own experiences, journeys, beliefs that they bring into the business, and their own sort of values. So no one else has had that journey. So what's important to them could be very different, what's important to another energy expert in terms of what they want to achieve and the kind of impact that they want to make. So, for me, when it comes to brand values, and I say this to my clients, is that, it's not just about having these words and having a descriptor. It's about how are you actually going to live, breathe, walk, talk these values and put them into action. And you'll know you are like successfully doing that when people start reflecting them back to you, through a testimonial, through a referral. You've got to work with Paul. He's got so much knowledge, and I don't exactly know what your core values are, but I can imagine.
You need to say that louder, Aarti.
Yeah. Well, you have, I'm definitely, I see your LinkedIn post and I'm like, that guy, he knows his stuff. And I just love the drive and passion and purpose that you have behind your brand. And, you're not out there shouting, these are my values and this is my purpose. You're just doing it. You're being it by taking action. For example, you've got this podcast, you've got, your book. You want to spread that knowledge and share and create an impact. And, that for me is when brands are actually living their value and purpose. So in order to do that, you need to know what that is. Like I said, it's about.
For me, I call it giving the brand a heartbeat.
Nice. Yeah.
It's not just that logo. It's pumping, it's there. I like the origin story. So my origin story is when I was at the nuclear power station, and I'd be hearing the turbine screaming late at night or early hours of the morning, thinking, why are they still generating all that energy when people are asleep? I just couldn't work it out. And that's what made me sort of go, I call it going from the dark side into the light side regarding generating energy to saving energy. Yeah. So I like the origin story, and that origin story needs to come into your core values as well. That's why I picked up on I can't remember when it was, there was a picture you put on LinkedIn with you and your father many years ago. You had long hair then, so it must have been quite a time ago.
It was quite some time ago. And coming back to that story, so when I moved back from Malaysia 10 years ago now, I went and worked in his business. Right. And it was, do you know what? I absolutely loved working with him. He's just amazing. But two, it just gave me this opportunity because he was running the day-to-day, him and his team run the day-to-day. And I was like, right, I'll do the marketing, brand communications. And, I had zero network when I came back to UK. So, joined loads of different networking groups. And, I was able to, increase the footfall and all of that kind of thing for his shop. I mean, eventually that got taken over by a bigger TV audio company. I never wanted to go into TV audio, but it definitely gave me a stepping stone to build my network and, be in business in UK in that sense.
And where was he based?
He was in Harpenden.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
So, Aarti, where can you point us experts that are in energy? What's the direction you can point us into regarding, is there books we should be reading? Yes, we should be giving you a call, contacting you and employing you to come and support us. But is there anything that people can go and get some tasters? Well, I know you do a lot of taster webinars, don't you?
I've got some free guides. So on my website, there is a 5 steps to build your brand guide. It's a free one. So it's on the freebies kind of page. I'll give you my website shortly. There's podcasts on there where I'm talking about brand. There's other videos and stuff like that. So there is a mishmash of a variety of free resources there that people have found useful. I do have a brand your business course. That's a self-learning course, or like I said, work with me one-to-one. In terms of books, if you haven't already, definitely Simon Sinek, classic. Start with Why. And the other one is Donald Miller. Sorry, I've got it here. Building a Story Brand. Absolutely brilliant, because it's about getting essence. It's about connecting with emotion, with brand. It's not just about a product or service. It's about allowing people to buy into it. It's about selling the meaning and not the product. Yeah. How do you get to that? There's different processes and steps, and these are great books to help to start with that. Yeah.
So Aarti, I did allude to this slightly before we started. So I like to put my guests on the spot regarding the interview, and I always ask them if there's something that they can give back. It's a bit difficult for yourself, but is there something you can give back to our industry today as a takeaway for them, the people who are listening today?
I've kept on saying it throughout this. It's definitely, define that purpose, know why it is that you are doing what you are doing, work on those brand values. That's what's going to help you to grow, serve, and impact. But it is those things: purpose, vision, values. Lead with that in your business, in your brand, and it's going to feel a lot more authentic to you. It's going to create more opportunities and possibilities.
Yeah, it is, and you, as I said before, you're going to be able to launchpad yourself into a stronger business that would add value to what you're doing.
And also coming back to sustainability, it creates longevity in the business, from short-term thinking business to, that's like, oh, I just need to kind of, get a sale or get a few sales for the end of the month and pay whatever. Having that purpose will create a more long-term thinking way, that longevity for the business.
That's amazing. Thank you very much for that. That's a really good takeaway. So, Aarti, I would really like to thank you for coming along today. It's been a real pleasure as always. We should have more conversations, I think.
Absolutely.
We're going to get you involved with our training going forward regarding our long-term training. So there's going to be some modules available. So what was the website again? Can you just...
It's www.artiparmar, AARTIPARMAR.biz.
Brilliant. And I'll make sure we get you spotlighted on the day when we broadcast it. So, Aarti, thank you very much for your time today.
Thank you. Always a pleasure.
Aarti, you and your family be safe. Thank you for our special guest today. And thank you for our sponsors, B2B Energy, which can be found at b2benergy.co.uk, and Clean Energy Revolution, which can also be found either through various different social media networks. Type in #Clean Energy Revolution. That leaves me with one more thing to say. Be safe.